Welcome to the Insomnia Project. Sit back, relax, and listen as we have a conversation about the mundane. One thing we hope is that you will sort of just listen and chill and hopefully even drift off. I'm your host, Marco Timpano.
And I'm your co-host, Nidhi Khanna.
Nidhi, this is pretty awesome. We're kind of retroing it right now.
We are.
We're back at your house.
Yep, at my kitchen table.
Yeah, with our old school mic.
Our old school mic. It'll be interesting to hear this episode after hearing some of the ones that we recorded at your place in the sound studio.
But it's always fun to be here recording because Xena, your dog, she commands the place.
She does.
And you just go with her.
It's true. Right now she's very lethargic and doesn't want anything to do with us.
Okay. So maybe we'll talk about French Bulldogs a little bit later because one of our fans asked for a show about French Bulldogs, which brings me to the emails and the reviews we've been getting, which have been so wonderful. Mm-hmm. We had a wonderful iTunes review about someone who was using our program for pre-op and post-op with their ailment that they were facing, and they said our show really helped them, and that really touched me. So thank you to that listener.
Thank you so much. And we've had people reach out from Australia because we're now on Spotify, and so feel free to listen and sleep through your Spotify account as well.
I often go on our analytics to see where people are listening. And I'll just explore the cities, and the cities I've never heard of in Scandinavia, in Norway, and it's just so fascinating to know we have. We
haven't done one of our city or town episodes in a while.
Let's make a point next time we record to do that. Because I was looking at Switzerland yesterday, and I know Lucerne, like I know that city, but there was two other places where I was like, these places just look so cool, and I just want to visit there. And so it's if you love to travel, it's a great way to sort of do a virtual travel of people who listen.
It's true. Yeah, we did a lot in season 1, and I miss those episodes.
I also wanted to talk about ladders.
Okay, let's go there. And can we talk about, so at work, sometimes I have to give people a ladder waiver.
Oh, I don't even know what that is.
Because after a certain height, you have to have your working at height certification in order to climb up on ladders that are over a certain height.
So let me see if I get this straight. You get a certification for a certain amount of feet or meters that you can safely climb the ladder. And then if you have the certification, you can climb past that?
Correct.
Okay.
And work at heights. So a lot of technicians in theater, for example, would probably have working at heights to get onto the catwalks and things like that.
Right.
But often we have artists who are installing something, let's say. Sure. And they need to have a ladder waiver because you don't want someone, I don't know, falling off a ladder and then being like, it was your ladder.
Right, of course. And you want people to be safe. One of the things that's wonderful about a ladder, it's a very useful tool. And it can be a piece of furniture, depending on how you display your ladder.
It could.
When you're on a sturdy ladder, you feel very safe and you feel very like, I'm the king of the world. Like if you go apple picking, let's say.
Really? I dislike ladders at all times.
Okay.
I'm afraid of heights. So getting on a ladder actually freaks me out.
Sure.
Particularly when it's not sturdy. But if there's not, especially if there's not someone at the base holding it, which I don't like. But I don't even remember the last time I was on a ladder, actually.
What about a step ladder? Do you have a step ladder in the house for, like, let's say, because those cupboards look pretty high to me.
I have a step.
Okay. That's
just
a ladder.
A little plastic step.
And you're cool with that?
Yeah, that works.
Okay, let me ask you about this. What about those ladders that you see in fancy homes in the library that swing? That you swing.
I would like that.
Those rolling ladders?
Yeah, I think I would like that.
They're like made of brass, or they've got a fanciness to them.
Yeah, I would feel very, I don't know, decadent is not the right word, but I would feel very luxurious or very, like, I don't know.
Nidhi, you know that the Nidhi's Bougie episode is one of our most listened to episodes of the year. I was looking at it and I was like, oh wow, people really enjoyed this one. So I think you need a roll-away ladder or roll ladder in your den.
I would love that in my little den that has no use for a step ladder of any kind.
Listen, what about those ladders that people use for decoration? So, they're like little wooden ladders that maybe are 3 rungs high.
Oh, yeah.
That have books on them or flowers on them.
Sometimes people put towels on them, things like that. I like those. I think those are nice and add a little bit of character to a space. How about you?
They're great if you have the space. I feel like they're kind of bulky, like they stick out. So you need a good space, I think, to really make those work.
That makes sense.
But speaking of towels on ladders, have you ever had a heated towel that's on one of those?
Those are the best.
Isn't it just the most wonderful thing ever?
Yeah. When I used to live in England, they would have that a lot in the bathrooms, where it's like you have a little heated, you can turn on the little heated portion and but you don't see them very often here, I find.
No, you don't. I think the heating system is different in Europe versus North America, one thing. 2, they haven't been as, I guess, prevalent and adopted here in North America. For example, even the bidet, which you'll find much more common in Europe than you will here.
Or 80s homes.
Or 80s homes, yes. Because my parents had 3 in their home, and it was built in the 80s.
It was built in the 80s.
Yeah. But then it's sort of like, after that, in the 90s, they weren't doing that.
No.
But now you're getting these gadgets, which is like a toilet seat that has all these sort of cool features to it.
Yeah.
But a warm towel or a warm robe, especially when you get out of the shower or when you're getting out of bed.
Oh, it's the best.
Nothing better than that.
Best
and
feeling.
You're a robe person.
Marco, I'm a robe person. I'm surprised I'm not wearing one right now to warm me up. It's a chilly day today. Yeah. But yes, I've recorded sitting at this table with a robe.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. I'm sure lots of people listening are wearing robes right now.
I hope so.
I hope so.
As they should.
We had a whole robe
session
where it's like, what's Nidhi's preferred robe? Fleece, plush, whatnot. Does your dog, Xena, like to lie in towels or robes?
Oh, the minute it comes out of the laundry, she is on it.
All over it.
She's on it.
Really?
Yeah.
So she's your dog. She's like...
Yes. She likes warm things.
Okay, let's talk about your dog.
Okay.
She's a French bulldog.
No.
Right? Oh, no.
No.
Oh, my goodness. I make this mistake all the time.
She's a Boston Terrier. But she gets mistaken for a French bulldog, so it's not so bad.
All right, we'll do an episode on French bulldogs, but let's talk about your Boston Terrier.
Yes.
Then. What's her disposition like?
Very playful, very friendly. In fact, we were at a cottage a couple of weeks ago with a friend of mine.
Can I ask where the cottage was?
Oh, Magog, Quebec.
Oh, my goodness.
Just outside of Montreal. Yeah, it was great. And there were 2 other dogs there who are both, like one's a golden doodle and one was another type of doodle.
Sure. Yankee Doodle.
Yeah, sure. And they're both like beautiful, kind of like brownish blonde fur, and it was really funny because poor Xena would be wanting to play with them, and these 2 dogs were totally mean girling her.
Oh, no.
But she didn't know.
Right.
She was just like, hey guys, I'm here. Let's go. And they would just bark at her, or the 2 other dogs would be playing together, and then Xena would come like, ripping up and like waddling over, and they would stop playing. And she wouldn't understand what was going on. But she's very friendly.
She's not a barker, I noticed.
She's not a barker. She howls every once in a while if she sees someone pass by.
But she's not really...
She's not a yapper.
No, she's not. She's
very quiet.
She's quiet in that way, but she's very like... happy to greet people she likes, because when I come in your house, it's a festa. Like, she's just happy. She's bringing me toys. She wants to, I rub her and she's just loving it.
I know, she just wiggles her little bum for a good, I would say 2 minutes, and then she stops and then goes and sleeps. It's
sure. So she needs short bursts of energy.
She does.
So would you say short walks is her preference?
I mean, no walk is her preference.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she's not really into the walking.
Oh, I didn't know that.
But yes, Bostons in general need shorter walks.
Okay.
They aren't very good with extreme temperatures. So kind of spring and fall are more of their seasons.
I see.
But like hot summers, not that great. Cold winters, not that great. They sleep a lot. People often mistake them as high energy dogs because you can see when she does have the energy, it's like boom, boom, boom. But it quickly dissipates. She's more of like a sprinter.
Okay.
So she'll like in a garden or something, like if she's off leash, she'll sprint and then she'll just drop.
That's like greyhounds. We have friends who had a greyhound.
Right.
And she would be great for short bursts of energy. And so she'd be like taking off or like going for a fast run or, you know, at a dog park. You can let them go and they just have fun with other dogs. She would just run back and forth. And then she would come home. Her name was Rose, and just chill. And it was like, you wouldn't think a greyhound would be a great city dog or a dog for people who work.
Well, it's sad because with greyhounds, often after their racing careers are over, you know, they're really good racers because they're such sprinters.
Sure,
and then people are like, well, what do we...
And she was a rescue. Rose
she was a rescue. A lot of rescues are greyhounds.
It's great.
Actually.
It's wonderful.
Great Danes also are very. People think that they are very high energy or like require a lot of.
Or not great city dogs because of their size.
But they're actually, you know, they're called the New York apartment dog for a reason because their size actually is a hindrance for them to be able to. Exercise too much, right? Whereas
and they're wonderful dogs. Like
they're so great,
they're so loving and great and majestic.
They are majestic, little horses.
Yeah, they are. Like they just look so. There's just a presence, clearly based on their size, but they just are so fascinating to watch and look at. What's a trait that your dog has that you find slightly annoying?
Once she starts playing fetch, she will not stop.
Okay.
She will not stop. Like, once she has you and you're like, all right, I'm throwing this ball, she's not going to stop until you take that ball away. And then she'll whine. She's a whiner. So if you're not throwing the ball and you just have it next to you, she will
whine.
She will whine.
Okay. And what's her current toy, her current favorite toy? Because we haven't checked in on that in a while. And last time we checked, it was either a little pizza or some sort of Halloween-ish bat or something. So
the pizza is now like a makeshift painting easel of some kind. Okay. Like a stuffed toy in the shape or the
she's getting
aesthetic.
her Renoir
exactly.
on. Okay.
She still loves, she used to have this orange boomerang like a plastic boomerang. So my mom gets really frustrated with her because, you know, we buy her all these expensive toys, but her favorite ones are the ones that come from the dollar store.
Sure, of course.
So I was like, well, that's why we shouldn't be buying her expensive toys.
Right.
Just get her the dollar store thing and let that be that because she loves those like boomerangs. She can just, so you can see in my apartment, dear listeners who can't see, but I'll explain it. It's kind of got this long corridor from the den all the way to the bedroom area, which is about how far do you think this is? What, like 30 feet?
Yeah, I would say so. It's actually, isn't this style of apartment called train card, or it's called something where it's like you go from like it's a long room to rooms.
Right.
It's called something I can't recall.
And so if I'm sitting here watching TV or reading a book, like I'll throw the boomerang and she can sprint her way to it, which is really great in the winter because it means I don't have to take her out in the cold.
Right. In other words, you have this long hallway that connects the main den to the kitchen to the foyer to the bedroom that if you have a boomerang, you can really launch it 30, 40 feet. Yeah. And it takes a while for her to get it and bring it back. Fair to say?
Yes. And in fact, as she's aged, the amount of times that she brings it back is starting to wane.
Sure.
So you throw it a couple of times and then she'll grab it and then jump onto the bed and just stay there for like 5 minutes.
Yeah. I particularly love the sock with a knot in it.
Oh, yes. So that's called My Socks Have Holes in It, and so now it's a toy.
But how great is that?
Yeah.
Upcycling or like maybe it's not upcycling, but like reusing, rather than even spending money on a big, expensive, whatever pizza toy. You've got this at home.
Yeah.
You tie it in a knot. She's having the time of her life.
And boom.
And there you go.
It's doesn't take much.
Yeah, because you can only have so many sock puppets, right?
It's true. It's true. It's very true. So those are like, she's really, I've had her since she was 8 weeks old. So.
And what made you pick her from the lot or from wherever you were?
Well, it's funny. So my friend, a good friend of mine in Montreal, had a litter.
Okay.
And she knew that I was looking for a dog, and originally I had wanted a bulldog. And when I was asking around about like different dogs and what do you think, because Xena's my first dog ever, so I didn't really know much.
Know that. Okay.
And she suggested that I think about a Boston Terrier because bulldogs tend to have a lot of health problems.
Right,
and
sure.
You have to be aware of that. And so Boston Terriers are of the same type of family in that they have short muzzles and things like that. But so she had a litter, and oddly enough, so here's the story. It's serendipity. I may have told this before, but I had a friend, my best friend from England, Chrissy, was supposed to visit me the summer that Xena was born. And a week before she was supposed to come, she burst her kneecap.
Oh my goodness. Chrissy, I hope you're doing okay now.
She's much better now. And so she couldn't fly. Okay. And so we had to cancel her trip to come see me, but I had already booked off the vacation, so I was going to go visit a friend in California, but then before I was buying my flight, my friend was like, listen, I'm about to move, and as much as I would love to hear, it's just not the right timing. Sure. I was like, no problem. And as all of that was happening, my friend Jess from Montreal messaged me and was like, hey, we just had a litter, and I have this one beautiful dog who's the baby of the litter, but I want her to have a great home, and I know you've been looking to have a dog, and so I went to Montreal on my vacation instead of all those other plans. I went to pick up Xena.
That's so great.
So it was really very much a serendipitous opportunity.
And is her name Xena Khanna, or does she have middle names and any other names?
No, it's just Xena Khanna.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. She's a sweetheart. She really is. She really is. Have you had any other pets in your life?
No. She's our first pet. And it's funny because I remember my parents at that time were living in Montreal. They've moved to Toronto since then, but when I got her, they were still living in Montreal. And so when I brought her back to their place, they were like, what have you done?
Right.
Like, they couldn't comprehend what was happening. And to their credit, I didn't really know what was happening either. It's one of those things where if I had known, I probably wouldn't have been so...
but you're so much richer for him.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. That's what I mean. Like, sometimes you just have to seize the opportunity, and not knowing can actually be beneficial in an odd way. And so, because it makes you take the risk. And so, I brought her back to Toronto. My mom came with me. And then I remember the moment that my mom fell in love with Xena, because at first she was just really like not sure how to handle this.
Right.
And so she went away after a week. She went back to Montreal, and then she came to visit me like maybe 6 weeks later or something like that. And she walked in the door, and Xena remembered her and was so happy to see her. And my mom started crying because she was like, I can't believe she remembers me and that she loves me so much. And ever since then, they've had a very, very special bond.
I love it. Your mom's such an elegant woman who has so much class, and just know that she cried because a dog came through. It's such a sweet
It's really great.
Thing. Yeah.
It's really great. And now my entire family just loves her. She's like the grandchild of our family.
Great.
Yeah, it's great.
My family had Yorkshire Terriers.
Yes.
And we're a big family of Yorkshire. I don't know how that happened. My sister is a fan of the English Bulldog, but somehow my family got into Yorkshire Terriers. And we had canaries. And so those were like, pets that we've had. Canaries are just so great because they just keep you company, and they sing all the time when they're happy, and they're beautiful colors and whatnot. And of course we had fish because I was really into,
of course,
tropical fish and goldfish and things like that. Those were the pets that we had. Would you ever consider getting an exotic pet, like when I say exotic pet, I don't mean a pet that is on the endangered species list.
No, but like a parrot or something?
A parrot or a tarantula or something like that?
No.
Not your thing?
No, thank you, no.
We have a friend who has a parrot.
Really?
Yeah, and he's like, you really have to consider the parrot because they could outlive you. So who gets the parrot should you go? And
interesting. Because how long do parrots live for?
They can live for like 90 years. They can
really?
They can live.
Parrots?
Parrots.
Are you making that up?
Nidhi's gonna take a look, but they can live long. If you have a tortoise, they can certainly outlive you. Although I will say, make sure that if you have a tortoise, that it is one of those animals that is legal to have and that it's not protected. And
you're right. 10 to 100 years.
Yeah.
Wow. That's wow. Okay. Yeah. The other piece of that though, with like parrots and tortoises and turtles and things like that, is that like yes, they can live past you, but also I don't feel like with a dog or a cat, like they have space, they're open, they're around,
domesticated,
they're comfortable with that. I just feel like, I don't know, with birds and with other types of animals, I'm not as comfortable having them on display.
Sure. And there's plenty of places, if you want to look at those beautiful creatures, you can go and see them.
Absolutely.
Right? So
I love sea turtles. I love watching turtles when I'm diving and things, but I wouldn't want it.
When's your next dive?
Hopefully this summer.
Really?
Hopefully, if we can, yeah.
And where are you hoping to go?
So that's part of the discussion. Do we go somewhere new, or do we go back to Bonaire and try and challenge ourselves a little bit more around like the length of our dives, how deep we go, things like that. So it's all up in discussion.
Okay.
It's up for discussion right now.
Would you consider diving in, I want to say, Tobermory in Ontario?
Yeah, so actually, apparently in Brockville, there's like a bunch of places to dive as well. So I would. It would just have to be at the time of the year where the water is at least warm, because I only have a wetsuit. But I would. I would definitely do that. I think someone on my Instagram is currently diving in Fiji, and it looks amazing.
I bet.
So
you should go there.
Yeah, there's also Honduras, like Roatan, which is supposed to have amazing diving, and Belize. So,
Nidhi, let me ask you this, and hopefully one of your family members is listening, or a good friend who's like, I don't know what to buy, Nidhi. If you could have...
My birthday's coming up.
Yeah. If you could have something that is dive related that someone was to purchase for you, even our listeners.
Yep.
What would that item be?
So that's a difficult question.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why.
Great.
Because I am currently in the process of like developing my dive kit.
Sure.
Right. So I have a wetsuit. I have my snorkel and my mask. I have boots.
Oh.
I have a little shaker that I put on my dive suit to get people's attention.
Is, but that's a shaker.
Yeah, because underwater, when you want to you got to shake.
Yeah.
I have in the past borrowed a dive computer and dive fins, so those are next on my list.
Okay, so dive fins, I know what those are.
Yep.
The traditional thing that you see on a diver's feet that allow you to propel yourself quickly.
Yep.
I don't know what a dive computer is.
So a dive computer is kind of like a wristwatch.
Oh, okay.
And it only operates essentially, like it turns on underwater.
Oh.
And it measures like your depth, the time of your dive, like how much stopping time you need to have before completely ascending, how much time you can stay at a certain depth before you need to move on from that depth to conserve your air, et cetera, et cetera. So the computer is basically what tells you where you're at on your dive and allows you to plan it properly. And then, so those are the next two things, I think. However, I also need a BCD, which is your buoyancy control device. So it's your the vest that people wear when they're diving that inflates or deflates with the air. And it also has pockets that you put your weights in. So depending on how much weight you need in order to actually sink.
So you would need the weights too then? They're bought separately? Are they sold separately?
I mean, the weights, you usually get them when you rent air
I see, okay.
So it's not so much of a cost. Okay. But the BCD is. And then the last thing, which is the most expensive, other than a tank or anything like that, but I'm not going to buy a tank.
No, but hey, listen.
Is your octopus and gauges. And so...
sounds awesome.
I know. So what the octopus is the octopus has these different gauges attached to it. One of them is your measures how much air you have. So it'll hook onto your tank.
Okay.
One of them and then that can also measure your depth depending on the type of gauge that you have. There's also the one that connects to your BCD so that you can inflate and deflate. And anyways, that hooks onto the back of your tank and basically controls the airflow.
Okay, I see. So when in doubt...
And that's thousands of dollars.
Buy Nidhi an octopus.
There you go.
Well, Nidhi, we've come to the end of our episode. Thank you. I know we always go back to diving, and I think it's because I just have a love for it, so I always bring you back there. But your birthday is coming up.
It is.
And if your family is like, I don't know what to get her, you've just given many options that they can get for you.
Thousands of dollars worth.
Whatever. Listen, you deserve it. You deserve it. Thank you for listening. And thank you for the emails and the reviews and whatnot.
We love it. And we really appreciate all of you. And we hope that this show continues to help you. And we hope that you listen and sleep.